coach of Stanford Cardinal football, David Shaw. How are you, Coach?
I'm great, Rich. How are you?
So what is that play call called where you flip it to somebody who flips it back to your quarterback who throws it downfield, and your talented wide receiver Francis Owusu goes ahead and catches it off the back of a defender that's not looking? What do you call that play, David? How do you dial that up?
I don't know if that's luck or serendipity, or I have no idea what it is. We've actually run that play 3 times, I believe, in the last 4.5 years, and honestly, we're 3 for 3. So it's been good to us, and that's the only one that ended up that way. But it's been a good play for us.
Have you ever seen somebody make a catch pinning a ball against a defender like that? Have you ever seen that?
You know, I want to say Hines Ward way back when did it in a game. I believe there was an Alabama receiver a few years ago that did it during a game. I don't know that it was exactly the same. I mean, this included a pass interference and Francis's head being turned away from the ball, so he couldn't even see the path of the ball. Was just a phenomenal play.
David Shaw joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show, and he's made one-handed grabs against UCLA also too. I mean, we've seen a bunch of plays that you guys have been making against UCLA year in and year out. How do you attest for the streak that you are on right now, Coach?
Against UCLA in particular, it's strange. I mean, it's eight games in a row, I believe it is now, that we've won against UCLA. Mm-hmm. But a lot of those games have been tight. They've been back and forth games, and plays are made at the end of the game to seal victories. So, but every game every year is completely different. The teams are completely different. Thankfully, we've been able to pull out a win multiple years in a row against those guys.
Yeah, and their crosstown rivals USC saw what Washington can do, and that's your next opponent. What are you seeing on film about the Washington Huskies, Coach?
You're seeing a team that's playing great team defense. They're not giving up a bunch of big plays. They're not giving up very many points. They're a tough group to move the ball on consistently. They're getting turnovers. So that's the thing, is they're making you earn every yard you get when they're on defense. And offensively, they've got some playmakers. They've got a couple of young quarterbacks, and we'll see who gets a chance to play and see who's healthy. But they all have some athletic ability, and they're making plays down the field, and they're moving the play. And you got to give Coach Peterson credit, he and his offensive staff in particular, for keeping you off balance. So there's shifting, there's motioning, there's the typical trick plays that Coach Pete's been known for, that crop up during the course of the game. So I think they keep you on your toes in all phases. So it's going to be a challenge for us.
Now, obviously, coaches don't look down the road, and I'm on the phone with Coach David Shaw here on the Rich Eisen Show, but I'm going to give you that choice of doing the coach speak answer, which I know you've got very well practiced, Coach, or I'd love to get to see if I can get something here. That if you continue to win and you win out, let's just throw that out there. You do have a shot if you take on Utah in a Pac-12 championship game. Certainly if the caliber of opponents that you have in front of you, if you win, there is a shot that you have for 100% to be in a college playoff. Do you talk about this with your kids at all? Mention about the college playoff? Just put it out.
We don't really avoid it, but we don't emphasize it, because things like that are earned. And there's no benefit of talking about things that you haven't earned. It's great to have those possibilities, but for us, we have to handle our business on our field every weekend. So I don't mind that people say stuff like that around us, which is great, and guys have earned the right to be in the conversation. But at the same time, the only thing that we have that we can affect, honestly, is the outcome of this weekend's game. So we got to prepare for it and go out there and play our best.
See, that's why I love having you on, Coach. And sitting next to you on the draft as I do at NFL Network. You could have just said, we'll just take it one game at a time. You're just focusing on Washington. You could have stopped there, but you didn't give that to me. I really appreciate that. I just want you to know
not
that.
A problem.
I just want you to know that. I don't take this sort of stuff for granted. I've got Coach David Shaw here on the Rich Eisen Show with me. You would know better than anybody else what Jim Harbaugh might be thinking or saying, basically from having a front row seat. How do you think he's going to handle the loss that my alma mater and he just suffered in front of the nation? How do you think that's going to go down with Harbaugh moving forward, Coach?
Well, I think for all of us coaches, none of us handle losses well at all, and I think that's what drives us, is that we look for things to correct. We look at what we're doing, and then we apply that going forward for the next week. What I've said to people, after our Northwestern game and difficult situations, we forget sometimes that these student athletes are much more resilient than the adults around them. Right? The coaches will bellyache and talk and try to do things, and the media will talk, and the fans and the alumni will talk, and the guys go back to school, they go to class, they do their homework, they come back to practice, and they're ready to go. So I think, especially when it happens during the course of a year, hey, we got a game in 7 days. Let's bounce back. Let's show our character. Let's show what we're made of, and go out there and battle and try to find a way to win a football game.
Are you going to use this as a moment for you to go to your punter and say, if you're ever in this situation, jump on the football? Do you use this as a teachable moment for your guys in any way?
I think things like that, especially when they happen in so big a fashion, you don't really need to double check that with your guys, because I think everybody's seen the Francis Wusu catch and the Michigan State finale. Everybody's seen those over the last few weeks, and I think the big thing is for everybody to do their jobs. Everybody do their jobs well, but at the same time, don't take anything for granted, and don't stop playing until the game's over, because the broadcast team was signing off. I happened to be watching the game. I just happened to get home right before the game was over. Everybody's signing off. Everybody's shaking hands and congratulating up in the stands, and people are waving and smiling. As long as there's time on the clock, you never know what's going to happen. So you got to finish the game, and to me, that's the biggest lesson for everybody.
David Shaw joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Christian McCaffrey's a Heisman candidate on your team. Ed McCaffrey's his dad. You've got Barry Sanders' kid that's right there. How are those guys, McCaffrey and Sanders, as dads? They helicopter dads with you? What do they do? How are they with you?
Not at all. They both approach it the same. They don't add pressure to their young men. They know that they're talented. They love the fact that they're at Stanford, getting a Stanford degree. But they're also allowing these guys to be their own person, and I think that's big. They want to be dads. They don't want to be the second coach. They don't want to be anything but a proud dad cheering in the stands, and that's what those two guys have been. I've gotten to know both of them pretty well over the last few years, and I played with Ed McCaffrey at Stanford way back when. So these guys just want to be proud dads. They're excited about the prospects for their guys this season and beyond. So they've been a real joy for us.
So what's it like for you to be coaching the son of a teammate, and that son has Heisman talk surrounding him? What's that like for you personally, Coach?
Honestly, during the recruitment process of Christian, the more we watched, we all believed that this was a possibility for him. I mean, to have the speed, the agility, the make you miss, and then the versatility to do so many different things. I played with a guy named Glenn Milburn. It was very similar. Could run it, could catch it, could return punts and kicks, and do a lot of different special things. And that's what this guy's like. He's a little bit bigger than Glenn was, and at the same time, this kid can do all those things, but also run between the tackles and get you the physical tough yards. And to me, that's what makes him special. And we keep reminding ourselves, this guy's just a sophomore. He's still growing. He's still learning. He's still getting better. Even through the course of the season, he's gotten better every single week. So that's what's exciting for us.
So did you have to go to Ed's living room to go get his kid to come?
Thankfully, Ed and Lisa, they come back periodically. So they're both alums. They're both Stanford alums. So they've been back and had a chance to meet Christian, I believe, maybe when he was a freshman or sophomore, because they kind of brought the whole family out for a visit to campus. So it's been good. And the good thing is we've got two Stanford recruiters in his home as his parents. So they've been working on him for a while. Yeah,
there's legacies all over the place. That's what
no
you're
question.
Saying, pretty much. Coach David Shaw here on the Rich Eisen Show. Does Andrew Luck look like the same to you right now? A lot of folks are wondering what's going on with him in his fourth year.
I think with any football team that loses a couple games, it's never one player, but most of the eyes go to the best player. And that's what I reminded Kevin Hogan, our quarterback, that, all things go across the desk of the head coach and the quarterback more than anybody else. So, it's not all him. And that's a big thing that he has to always deal with, which is, to try not to make too many great things happen just because you think the team needs it. He's got to drop back and get rid of the ball and hit the check downs and get to the right protections, and everybody has to do their jobs. And when it's all said and done, it's still a big team sport. Everybody has to pull their weight. I will say this, they had a rough game last week, but they're playing against one of the hottest teams in the league, in the New England Patriots. So there's a lot of football left to be played, and I trust those guys. They've had a lot of success, even though everybody's always worried about everything every week in the NFL, it seems like. But it's a good group. It's a good coaching staff. It's a good group of players. They've had a lot of success in the last 3 years, and all they need to to do in the NFL is get on a run, and you never know what can happen.
So Luck, Richard Sherman, or John Elway, which is the NFL person you hear from the most or more often? Or is there somebody that I didn't mention?
You know what? There's a bunch of them, and I think that's what's been so special about this run that we've had. There's so many guys that come back that we keep in touch with, and Doug Baldwin and a bunch of those guys, and we got a couple guys, more guys in Indianapolis. We got a couple guys with the Patriots. We've got Ryan Hewitt I was texting with, who's with the Bengals, and they're doing great. So it's a lot of fun to watch these Stanford guys go out there and play great on Sundays.
And is anybody questioning your play calling like the last time we spoke? That goes away when you win 5 in a row?
Yeah, that only goes with losing.
That's it.
When you lose, they question your play calling. When you win, they give credit to somebody else. So that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah. So nobody's wondering how you can handle being the head coach and on top of a program and also play calling.
Yeah, I haven't heard that question in a couple weeks.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I have full trust and faith in you, Coach. You know that.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in. I really, I always enjoyed chatting with you, and hopefully we'll chat some more down the line. Good luck against Washington.
That sounds good. Thanks, Rich.
You bet. That's David Shaw, at Coach David Shaw.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.